Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Aurora City Council's Committee of the Whole meeting. It is Monday, February 22nd, 2016. Ms. Martin, please call the roll.
Ms. Varner?
Present.
Ms. Grandillo?
Here.
Mr. Hattrich?
Here.
Mr. Horvath?
Here.
Mr. Kovach? Mr. Cudley?
Here.
Ms. McDougall?
Present.
Mr. Vaca? Mr. Wolf?
Here.
All right, thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes for the February 8th meeting, 2016. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any additions, comments, corrections? Ms. Martin, please call the roll.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Varner?
Yes.
Ms. Grandillo?
Yes.
Mr. Hattrich?
Yes.
Mr. Horvath?
Yes.
Mr. Kovach? Mr. Cudley?
Yes.
Ms. McDougall?
Abstain.
Mr. Vaca?
All right, that motion passes. We've adopted those minutes. We have the Finance Director's report. Mr. Clymer.
Thank you, Chairman Cudley. Good evening, Council. Just a couple items this evening. As I wrote in my written report, our receipts through the end of January are slightly above pace for the year, but on the other hand, our expenses are as well. This occurred due to a couple timing issues. I expect those to smooth out over the next couple months. We should fall back into a below-budget pace, but I'll keep my eye on it and I'll keep you appraised of it over the next month or two. And just one other item on the CHIP program. I know there was some interest last month. I wanted to touch on it a little more. I did in the report, but also as well, our residents are currently utilizing 4 of our 15 allotted projects with less than 2 months to sign up. So it's very important that we try to identify and solicit residents who could benefit from the program. I have a flyer from NDS who administers the program for us. I could email it, print out colored copies. Just reach out to me, let me know, and I'll help out however I can. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Wolf, question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Clymer, can you tell us how much is actually left of Aurora's allocated grant money?
Sure. We have 4 projects that are more significant, rehab projects of up to $40,000, so that's about $160,000 in available funds, and then 7 projects that are up to $10,000 for simpler repairs. So in total, you're looking at around $230,000 in available funds for our residents.
All right, Mr. Wolf.
And thank you. And just to follow up, I know that in your report for Cal, we talked about how the additional communities requested any non-committed funds. Is there a possibility of, if we're turning those funds over to them at this juncture, then asking them, hey, we want to, if we go over and above next time, getting some of those funds brought back, that we would be turning over to the rest of the communities?
Mr. Clymer.
It's doubtful.
Okay.
I don't know for certain, though.
All right.
Thanks.
Ms. McDougall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Clymer, I was wondering if we in council could get a spreadsheet of where the addresses are that are getting these funds and the amount that's
Absolutely.
being spent and what's being done.
I'll make you a copy this evening.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Barner.
Thank you, Councilman Cudley, and to Mr. Clymer as well. Is it, from what my understanding, it's use it or lose it, basically.
Right.
Timeframe. So, are there any restrictions on how we can advertise this in the community? Since you said,
not to
you
my
know,
knowledge.
Flyers, can we post this at our local Heinens or something along that line, or even putting something in the Advocate perhaps as an awareness, or is that not allowed?
We have about a 2-month window.
Mm-hmm.
So however creative you want to get, I think we could try to make things work.
So the bigger the capacity, the way we can use it then, because if we have $250,000, it's how much we're left with. Still a nice portion to use.
Right.
Right. Mr. True, when do we put out the newsletter on services and stuff like that? Is that beginning of the year or?
Yeah, that's another month or 2. We just put that once a year around the springtime so that it goes out appropriately when we know things are changing with leaf collection, brush pickup, and everything else.
Right. Perhaps if we got that out a little earlier, we could include this in that because that goes out to everybody.
I could check on the
Might be
timing.
something.
We could even throw something in the water bills if you'd like.
Okay.
It's always a
That would be
possibility.
fantastic.
Right. Water bills? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Hattrich.
Thank you. Mr. Clymer, I don't know if you'll know this information or not, but can somebody kind of tell us what the qualifications are to get a CHIP grant or whatever?
The
Mr.
primary qualification is income-based.
Yes.
It's based off the median income for the county. I don't know what the number is, but I could get that for you.
Would you please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. McDougal?
Thank you. One more time. Mr. Clymer, is there a way we can communicate with the food pantry? I know Sue Altman might be a good connection, know where the needs are, and perhaps communicate that to the people that come and get food every month.
Sure. We'll reach out to them.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Vaca?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been my experience that the Ward 1 area, the Jog Lake in particular, are the ones that utilize this program. And majority of the time, they ask me, or they'll ask me, is there something and I will give them, I will refer to this program. I have a couple of these at home that I will just automatically give them. But I think I like the idea of putting it in the water bill, because it needs to go out quick, according to what Mr. Clymer's saying, and I can only tell so many people. And in fact, I just put one on the other day, so that sounds like a good, put in the Advocate too. We've got to promote this if you're going to try to use it. And if you don't use it, then like you said, you're going to lose it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. This isn't a question. This may be the perfect vehicle for, or the perfect vehicle for this may be social media. So we may want to see about getting something written up that we can ask some people in town that we know have a lot of connections on social media, ask them to get that out and kind of get that to permeate out through. I mean, this is a time-sensitive issue, so my guess is that probably one of the best ways we could handle it.
Right.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further question, do we have a motion to accept the Finance
Second.
Director's report? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Moving on to new business, we need to amend our agenda to include a request from the Planning Director, Ms. Januska, for a purchase of a vehicle. Do you have a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to add that item to our agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. The first item of new business is item A, tree purchases for Yorkshire Estates. Administration is asking that we forward this to council for action this evening. Mr. Kraus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is related to the $20,000 donation we received from the development last fall. So we went out and we're soliciting prices from various nurseries to purchase the 87 trees that we will be planting. We are recommending Klein Nurseries for a total of $10,248, and then we will purchase the trees, and then we will contract out the installation of those trees. The total between those will be just under $20,000 of the donation.
Do we have a motion to forward this?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to forward this to council for action. Ms. Grandillo?
Yes, just briefly, Mr. Kraus, has the arborist, Mr. Askren, looked at these trees to make sure that they're the kind of trees that will not grow, the roots will not grow and break up the sidewalks?
The chairman to the councilwoman, yes, he is the one that actually put together the list. We worked last fall between the arborist, myself, the law director, and the residents as far as the particular types and the amounts and various stuff. And so then he then went out and looked at and got the various trees based on these specs. A couple of nurseries didn't have all of the trees or some of the trees, but Klein Nurseries had all of the ones that we would need.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We have a motion. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. This will be on council's agenda for action this evening. Item B under new business is a grant for a fishing derby. Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Probably, I'm not sure how many years in a row, but for many years in a row now, we've been able to secure a $500 grant through the state of Ohio through their Step Outside program. So this is, we have received that $500, and so we're asking for that money to be appropriated back to the budget line so we'll be able to use it for this year's event.
And do I have a motion forward this council's regular agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item C is purchase of a mower. Mr. Kraus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last fall, we had one of our current mowers needed some repairs. We looked at the cost of those repairs, and it was pretty extensive. And so in discussions with the mayor, we added the mower to this year's budget as a replacement. Through the state purchasing program, we're recommending the purchase of a Hustler Super Z mower from Baker Vehicle Systems in the amount of $10,432.88.
And administration's asked that this go on to council's regular agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Horvat?
And Mr. Chairman, to the Parks and Rec Director. Mr. Kraus, we usually do John Deere for some of these, or these aren't the vehicles we do from John Deere? Okay,
You know, if I can,
yeah, please.
John Deere, a lot of times are the gators that we use.
Right, okay.
And some of our utility tractors. We've got, I think, 3 Hustler Super Z zero-turn
Okay.
mowers. So this is kind of the mower that we've typically used.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, this motion passes. Let's go on to council's regular agenda. Item D under new business, the July 4th fireworks proposal. Mr. Kraus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Every year, we solicit proposals back from companies. The reason we do proposals is it's a little harder to then do an actual formal bid, plus you have the bid bond and some of the other requirements for that. So we asked for proposals. We went out as normal, asking for the amount of fireworks, shells, cakes, and everything that would come for a total price of $17,500. That's been the budget line for the last few years. American Fireworks was the best and most responsive bidder. As you can see by the breakdown sheet, they obviously provide the most shells as well as the most cakes, and they've been the company that's done a tremendous job over the last few years. I've heard many comments about last year's show in particular about being the best show they've ever seen. So we would recommend, again, going with American Fireworks for the amount of $17,500.
Okay. And the administration's asking that this be forwarded to council's regular agenda.
So moved.
And we have one comment, Ms. McDougal.
Thank you to Mr. Kraus. I'm just wondering, how does this compare to last year as far as number of fireworks?
The chairman to the councilwoman. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can pull up last year's sheet and send it to you.
So we're spending the same amount as last year, is that
Budget
correct?
number is the same amount. It would just be what the shell count and how many fireworks would be. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of forwarding this to council's regular agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item E is the modification of a contract for 2015-083. Mr. Clymer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Due to a new accounting standard implemented by GASB, we have to add a new liability to our report. It's pretty complex. It deals with our hypothetical share of an unfunded pension liability. We're not really responsible for it, but this new GASB pronouncement requires us to include it on our books, and there's an extensive footnote with it. Because of that, our auditing firm has to increase our contract for our audit by 16 hours, which is equal to $1,152. So we are requesting this evening to forward that along into legislation.
And administration is asking that this be forwarded to council's regular agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Clymer, just to clarify for anybody that's watching, this is the audit company or audit firm that we hired at the permission, I guess, of the state of Ohio to conduct our annual audits, given that the state of Ohio feels it's no longer necessary to audit us at this time.
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all in favor of forwarding this council's regular agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Item F under new business is equipment for police vehicles. Chief? And the administration's asking that this be forwarded to council's regular agenda also.
Good evening, members of council. This is a request to enter into an agreement with Hall Public Safety to have new equipment installed from our 3 vehicles that we're trading in into the 3 new vehicles. We do business with Hall Public Safety. annually, and it's a request to have that done again.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Thank you, Chief. And our last new business item is item G. It's a vehicle for the planning. Ms. Januska?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we, in order to keep the best price, we wanted to look at Liberty Ford in Maple Heights, and due to the two trade-ins and just their initial price, they have the best deal and gave a certain deadline on that, so.
And this vehicle is going to be used for?
This is for the second inspector. We're going to an F-150. We have two building inspectors, so.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Mr. Horvat?
Yes, comment for Mr. Januska. Mr. Januska, going forward, I see we're getting rid of two vehicles. Are we going to come back for another one later, or the second one's going to go away?
No, Mr. Chairman, person to Mr. Horvat. The department had 4 vehicles at one point. I don't feel we need 4 vehicles. The 04 Explorer does not run. It was on the list to be auctioned off. But when they gave us this price on a trade-in, I felt it was better to do it this way. So the department will have 3 vehicles replaced 1 year at a time.
Yeah, because I looked at it, I was trying to figure out where we're only getting $1,000 for it, so I guess now I know.
It does not, it does not run, it does not start,
It's usually helpful when they start.
it's just in the parking lot.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to forward this to
So
council?
moved.
Second.
We need to forward this to council for its first reading this evening. Okay. We have a motion,
Second.
and it's seconded. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. That brings us to the end of our agenda, and I will entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Thank you.
Hang on to that one.